welcome to the People's Election. My name's Eric Olberg. Thanks for joining me. While the election continues with most people barely even taking notice, I've heard this complaint before, that the American people are somehow lazy, and that's why we have such low voter turnout and a misinformed public. But are the American people really lazy? I hit the streets to find out. My first stop on the way out of the state was Bozeman, Montana. Bozeman is the fourth largest city in Montana, with a population of around 41,000. It's home to Montana State University. Most people I asked said that Bozeman tends to be a more liberal or progressive city by Montana standards, and they credit that to the presence of the university. From the street level, the town appears to be thriving. Most businesses and homes I saw were well maintained, and there was new development and renewal happening in many places that I looked. I took to the street to ask people how they felt about the direction of the country, if they vote, and if they support any causes or campaigns. So here we are, downtown Bozeman, and so far, a lot of luck getting people to answer questions on camera. Just about everyone I've asked has been willing to talk. Stark contrast between Helena and Bozeman, for sure.
Direction of the country?
Yeah.
I'm not really into the country, so I don't really pay attention to politics or current events. I
think the direction of the country is probably spiraling down to a level that it's never been before.
You have any specific reasons you think that's the case?
Well, I think, yes, mismanagement of money by the government. And, our elected officials aren't true to their convictions nor their promises when they campaign and make promises to us.
Why do you think they're not compelled to keep their promises to the electorate?
I think that there's too much pressure once they get elected to conform, mainly because of the large corporations and the money that's made available to change their minds.
I think the direction of the country is usually in flux. I think we're doing a lot better now for all the obvious economic reasons and other than we were, say, 8 years ago. If you want to know what I really feel about the future of American, the future of the American landscape, I think will be dictated based on whether or not there is some degree of campaign finance reform. Because I think, as it stands currently, we have a very clear legalized system of bribery. And that is highly problematic for a true, open, and free democracy. And until taxpayers are paying their politicians to run campaigns, which is, you gotta suck it up, but until that's the case and private individuals' voice is sort of determined by how much money they have. It's not one man, one vote, it's really $1, one vote, and the more dollars you happen to have, the more votes you're gonna get.
I think the country is going down the path of too much glorification of the military. I'd like to see teachers and workers, firefighters, cops honored more than soldiers, frankly. I think we keep getting mired into the politics of the Middle East, and we really should get out of it. And I'd like to see people a little less focused on consumerism.
I'm saddened about the direction of the country, excuse me. When I think of my children or your generation and where it's heading and the opportunities before them, it's pretty depressing.
You have any specific policies you feel that are driving us under?
I'm a small business owner, have been for 35 years, and right now, in fact, your timing is good. Just met with my insurance broker yesterday. We have about 20 employees, and my insurance costs are going to go up 56% as of December 1st.
Would you be in favor of any kind of government-sponsored healthcare solution?
No, I wouldn't. I'm a firm believer in making out people have their own opportunities. I'm a firm believer in the old adage, you teach a person to fish rather than giving them fish. I'm a self-made man, had very little opportunities when I was a young person, worked my way through college, and I believe the opportunities are out there if the government will just get out of the way.
I definitely feel like we're leaning more towards like consuming things, and I feel like our entire society isn't based on culture anymore. It's more about consumerism. Yeah, I just feel like we don't really have any inherent values anymore. You know, like mainstream society doesn't have any inherent like true values anymore besides buying things and selling shit.
I could say the same thing. Consumerism, that's what our problem is. One of them, at least.
I feel fine with the direction of the country. I think that things work out over time, for the most part. The direction of the Western world in general scares me a little bit. But as far as specifically the United States, I think we are on a better path than a lot of the Western world. So.
Are there any specific policies you feel put us on a better path than the rest of the world?
I just feel like most of the Western world has lost touch with their selves, with nature. No one knows how to do anything with their hands. No one knows where their food comes from. If it weren't for grocery stores, 95% of everybody in the Western world would completely starve to death.
I think that's a pretty broad question. It's complicated, I think, if we're talking politically. It's less inspiring in a lot of ways, but there are people that break through the woodwork. I'd say like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, and people that are, I think, speaking directly and trying to counter some of the progress we've been on.
I think we're regressing a little bit. I think there's some things that can be done to improve the economy.
Any specific policies you'd like to see implemented?
There's this one that, you know, Bernie Sanders?
Yep.
Yeah. There's this one, he wants to implement free college tuition to like in-state colleges, which I would like to see that go through.
I found one business downtown that was holding a fundraiser to fight child hunger in the state.
My name's Jennifer Sykowski. I'm a manager at Ted's Montana Grill. September is the month of No Kid Hungry. For every $1 raised, it creates 10 meals for a child in need. It goes to the kids who need free lunch. And for every $1 raised at the Ted's Montana Grill in Bozeman, it goes to our Montana kids. It goes to the Gallatin Food Bank. It goes to Montana Department of Public. Our goal this year is 20,000. We've already reached a company goal at 13,000. And the goal for the whole company out of 46 stores is $300,000. And we're almost there. Because we have a lot of hungry kids right in America, and we're sending it everywhere else. Not that we shouldn't help everyone, but we need to support the cause here as well. We used to live at the Salvation Army when she was born, so it's good to give back to people now.
My next stop was Billings, Montana. Billings is Montana's largest city with a population of around 108,000. Billings has seen a lot of economic growth recently, due in no small part to the Bakken oil development in nearby eastern Montana and North Dakota. For me, being a Montana boy my whole life, Billings does sort of feel like the big city. The town is large and spread out with multi-lane streets everywhere and tall buildings downtown. But when I got off the main streets, I saw a lot of shuttered businesses, decaying communities, and homelessness. The area of the city that seemed worst off was where I stayed, Billings' south side. This place has the reputation of being the ghetto of the city. I was put in touch with Eric Basie of Unity Leadership and Development Incorporated to talk about his mission for the community. Can you tell me a little bit about the south side?
Yeah, the south side is like many communities and larger cities that maybe at one point in time were wealthier communities, and as the city grew and developed, that the growth goes away from that community, and what's remained has typically become rental properties, has become dilapidated type housing. So the south side in Billings, Montana is the oldest. It's the historic original neighborhood of Billings, Montana, and within that, over the years, just what has happened is that our growth has gone every other which way other than the south side, and so what has remained is we have a geographically locked in neighborhood that is also very isolated in the sense that It's predominantly not homeowner occupied, many rental units and or vacant properties. And then within that, there's been a number of other disparities. We have a large population of people that are coming out of the penal system, and so we have a large number of felons, violent offenders, sex offenders, most of whom live here in our particular neighborhood as they can't find housing in other neighborhoods of the city. We have a management company. We buy and renovate junky old homes, and we make them into beautiful homes, and then we rent them to people that otherwise can't rent because of their criminal background, maybe because of their rental history, or they've got a bad credit score. And so we want to provide an opportunity for them to provide for themselves, to provide them a place of dignity to call their home as they begin this new life together. We do other things as well, just working. We have a pretty large emphasis working with at-risk youth. The school that is located right behind me is our local neighborhood school called Orchard Elementary. Approximately 400 students. Of those students, well over 90% of those students are living in poverty. And so we have really come along this school. We provide them mentors, we provide them volunteers, we do various projects with the school to really try to work alongside the school to best serve these students and their families. We've created a drop-in center, and we do Bible studies, and we do a Friday morning breakfast with kids in the neighborhood. And so this is a part of our Koinonia Housing Construction Company, and so these guys have, this was a vacant, dilapidated lot, and so we had a vision of what would it look like for us to develop this into something beautiful. And so we'll see what it's contrasted to, which is called the townhomes right across the street. But this was a really unique spot just because, again, it was from an investment standpoint, nobody else wanted to touch us. Everything from the street, the sidewalk, curb gutter that we had to do in order just to develop this, as well as this project is over $1 million. So in the end, we'll have 10 units, 5 duplexes, and they range from 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. And so again, the folks that we're trying to serve are those that are transitioning out of some of our other efforts or other programs we work with. Many people in Billings have not seen this side of Billings ever. I think really unique things that makes inner city communities like this so distinct is that it feels much more like a community than the suburbs, and so people are out and about. Everybody's in the same place of vulnerability, which puts you in a really unique situation where you identify that you actually need people, and so for the most part, what people would see here is a terrible community in some regards. I would say what we experience here is some of the best community in the entire city of Billings. And so that's something that we've really enjoyed, things like the South Side, that people have a real strong sense of pride and ownership.
So how has Eric's efforts affected you?
Well, Eric's efforts have affected me tremendously. Helped me out, in more ways than one. I didn't expect everything to go the way that they're going right now, man. I have a brand new apartment. I have a new job with his company as well. Things are going great. The family, as far as the company family, they're awesome, man. And I feel right at home.
I took to the streets to talk to people on the south side and see how engaged they were, but I found it a little difficult. All right, I'm filming in the south side of Billings, Montana, and I'm having a tough time getting anyone to talk to me here. I asked a few people. So far, no one has been willing to say anything. I can sense that they all have an opinion to express, especially some of them, but they seem to be pretty camera shy. So hopefully I can get a couple of people to talk to me. I'd really like to get the viewpoints of some of the folks that live in this community. So here's hoping. First question is, how do you feel about the direction of the country right now?
I believe what scares me most is the private prison expansion and being private prison in every city.
I feel like we are not progressing very much anymore.
How do you feel about the direction of the country right now?
It can always use improvement.
Sure.
Always.
Is there anything specific you'd like to see improved?
Well, I'd like to see Congress always get the budget on time instead of doing furloughs and things like that, and bring more support to people here in the United States instead of giving money to other countries.
For a different perspective, I went to a community event at a park located in the heart of the city. My friends told me about this event they're having. In the background there, it's just kind of a Saturday night community thing where they go all day long with fun activities for the kids and bands and every other thing. So, pretty excited to be here and talking to some people about politics. First question is, how do you feel about the direction of the country right now?
I think it's taken several steps backwards, and I think the constant bickering within our legislature has stopped any progress whatsoever.
How do you feel about the direction of the country right now?
Fucked up. I'm Upsalaga. I'm Crow Native American.
Okay.
So I would rather go around and burn down all the U.S. flags and hang my Crow flag everywhere.
I think that there are some dangerous trends. A lot of income inequality, but I think there's always a chance for people to work together and for things to improve if people believe it. If people stay negative and keep thinking that things won't change, they won't.
Currently it's in downward spiral.
Any specific things that we're doing that you'd like to see us change?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that need to change. So as far as, backing down to third world countries and just stuff that America doesn't do. This Confederate flag bullshit, that's ridiculous. You're gonna ban American history. Like I see these guys with their swastikas running around, and swastika flags, and they're not banned. How is that not banned? You're gonna ban our Confederate flag? That's wrong.
If you fly the Confederate flag on private property, that's fine. What they were doing was taking the Confederate flag off of like public institutions.
No, I would take a Confederate flag, put it in the backside of my pickup right next to the American one and fly it all around the country.
And that's legal still.
That damn well should be.
Right. I agree it should be.
There's no reason why it shouldn't be,
But do you think that we should fly the Confederate flag at state institutions?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely, it should be it should be on the White House, it should be everywhere. I mean, it's one of the biggest parts of American history.
And I understand you're 16, so you're not old enough to vote yet.
I am 16.
But you do have some opinions about the direction of the country.
Yes.
So how do you feel about the direction of the country right now?
I feel like a lot of people think that America in the past few decades has really gone downhill. But I personally, in what I know, only being alive 16 years, is that right now our economy is in the best place it's ever been.
This whole event was to raise money for local schools. I spoke to one of the organizers briefly. Well, thanks for taking a moment to talk to me. I'm here with Julie
Whitworth.
I just kind of wanted to ask, what got you into this?
Well, Saturday Live is a fundraiser for public education in our community.
Okay.
So this is our 23rd year. We have, it's a school carnival on a grand scale. We have 86 carnival booths. Every public school in our area is represented with a carnival booth. There are games, food, music, entertainment, and it's all about community support for public education.
Do you find things like this are necessary because you're not getting proper funding for education, or is this just kind of a bonus thing?
Public education funding's always tight and there are always extras, so each school group that comes here is raising money for something different. They might be raising money for new cross-country uniforms, they might be raising money for extra library books. Some groups are raising money for computers. There's never enough money.
How do you feel about the state of the country right now? Do you feel we're headed in the right direction, or what would you like to see change?
I feel about my community, I feel good about my community. I feel good about public education in our community, and especially at events like this when I see the community come out, and we have had over 15,000 people here today supporting public education. I feel really good.
Well, it does appear to be accurate that people are disengaged at the national level, but it's not because they're sitting at home watching TV. Discouraged with the national scene, people instead are focusing their efforts locally, where they feel they'll have a real impact. Will 2016 be another election where people begrudgingly go to the polls just to vote for the lesser of two evils and get it over with? Or will a candidate really inspire people to start talking about national policy again? last chance for you to have the last word if there's anything else you wanted to add.
It's good to have a conversation. Thanks for asking.
I'll give you a chance to have the last word if there's anything else you want to say.
I just think there's great opportunities for this country, but our government just needs to get out of our way.
It all starts with you. You have to change your point of views, and you have to look at yourself and think, what are you doing in this world that's going to make a difference?
I appreciate it. I'll give you a chance to have last word if there's anything else you want to say.
Peace.
There's goods and there's bads, but I definitely would prefer living here than anywhere else.
We definitely live in the best country I've been to of all the countries that we visited.
Anything you want to get off your chest about American politics?
It's going downhill.
Well, I'll give you an opportunity to have last word if there's anything you want to add.
No, I don't got nothing to add, man. Glad you're out here doing this. People need to get their words out and somebody needs to listen to it.
Well, I'll give you a chance to have last word if there's anything you'd like to add.
I just think people need to get out there and vote if they want to make a change.
Did you vote last presidential election? Very good.
did.
Do you intend to vote in 2016?
Absolutely.
Did you vote in the last presidential election?
Indeed, I did.
Do you intend to vote in this coming one?
Absolutely.
Did you vote in the last presidential election?
I did not.
And do you intend to vote in this one?
No.
Did you vote in the last presidential election? And do you intend to vote in this one?
No, I did not.
Any intentions to vote in 2016?
Yes, possibly.
Do you intend to vote in this coming election in 2016?
Possibly.
Did you vote in the last presidential election, and do you intend to vote in this one?
I do.
Yeah, I voted for Obama.
All right, and do you intend to vote in the next one?
I do.
I did, and I do.
Very good. Did you vote last presidential election? Do you intend to vote in the coming one?
Yeah, I'll probably vote.
I vote in every presidential election, and I intend to vote in 2016. I'm not sure who I'm going to vote for yet, but I'll be voting.
I did vote in the last one, and I will be voting in the next one.
Did you vote in the last presidential election?
We did.
And do you intend to vote in this coming one?
Yes.
I do. I will.
Yes and yes.
No, because I was not old enough, but yes, I plan to this year.
That's all the time I have for this week. Join me next time when I go through South Dakota and Minnesota. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. I really appreciate the comments, especially. Any kind of feedback you can give me to help make the show better, I really appreciate. Until next time, I'll see you on the road.
You got anything you want to say to the country?